everyone, so today we are going to talk about concealer, and concealer is one of those products that I think it's my favourite product in that it's a great finishing product. I think kind of your face doesn't look complete without concealer once you've done your makeup. Kind of foundation alone isn't enough for me, especially in the under eye area. And I've got a mixture here of kind of high end, low end, and I'm going to kind of give you little mini reviews of products as I go along. But I'm going to start with Drugstore because I've actually only got a couple of high-end ones here anyway. My most recent purchase is the Soap & Glory Trick or Treatment Concealer. This is a very unusual concealer in that they kind of market it as a treatment concealer, so it's supposed to treat your under eye circles while it's covering them, and it's also meant to kind of brighten and highlight, so it's got a lot of shimmer in it. And I don't mean just a little bit of a highlighting effect, it's proper shimmery. It's very, very unusual. The texture of it's quite nice. It's a very light texture. It doesn't sink into fine lines or anything, because if I put it on here you can probably tell. The texture of it's just very, very easy to blend, very liquidy and just very lightweight. So the texture of it's very nice, but the shimmer part I'm really not sold on. It's kind of like, it's got a little bit of an orangey tone to it as well, so it's not one that I think would be very good for very fair skin tones. They only do one shade of it as well, which is a bit disappointing, and I'm not in love with this. It's not something that I could use just that on its own, but it does help to kind of give the area a little bit of a boost, but doesn't banish any darkness completely. Then another one that's kind of one that's not my favourite is the 17 Stay Time Concealer. This is funny because I really like the foundation from this range, but the concealer doesn't do anything for me. It's too thick to go in my under eye area, and it doesn't cover any pigmentation or anything like that very well. I can't really talk too much about things to cover blemishes because I don't really suffer from blemishes. My main concern is covering up the pigmentation on my face, but this works well at covering the odd spot, but not necessarily one that I would recommend. It's just an okay product. Then for this video wouldn't be complete without me mentioning this, giving it a very honourable mention, the Collection Lasting Perfection Concealer. The writing's all rubbed off because I've had this for ages, but this is a great concealer. The only thing is that the shades of it are a little bit funny, I find. So number 3 is great on my under eye area but a little bit light on my skin tone, but number 4 is a little bit too deep. So I kind of have to mix the two, but it is a great concealer. It's a very thick concealer. It can crease a little bit on the under eye area, but it's a very heavy duty concealer. Very good if you do suffer from breakouts, and if you do have the odd kind of spot and that kind of thing. It covers very, very nicely. The little doe foot applicator is not the most hygienic way, so probably put it on your hand and then onto the area, or use a brush rather than dipping it on kind of an active breakout. But a very, very good concealer and very, very inexpensive. Then 2 of my favourites are actually from Maybelline, but I have the same issue with both of these, and these are the Eraser Eye and the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer. I have a problem with most concealers where they just all crease on me. You know, I don't have particularly wrinkly an eye area, you know, like I'm not even 25, and I just really, really struggle with them creasing. I think it's just the shape of my eyes kind of thing. The skin here is just a little bit kind of I've got fine lines. I've always had them, like as a teenager I had them. It was really annoying, and concealer just tends to settle in them and it looks really horrible, and I hate it when I've applied my concealer and then I have to kind of stop it from sitting in the creases. It drives me mad, and it happens to me with pretty much every concealer that I use. But I love the tone of the Fit Me concealer. I've got this in the shade number 20. I love the kind of yellowy tone of it. I love the texture. I love the coverage. It's great for kind of highlighting the whole under eye area, but it creases really, really badly on me. The skin's well moisturised, I've got eye cream on. It's just the shape of my under eye area, I think. And I've tried the kind of powder on top and kind of baking it and whatever you want to call it. It still creases, but I do love this. If you don't have a very unfortunate under eye area, this might work nicely for you, and it's nice for just kind of evening out the skin on your nose, or if you have a bit of redness. Really, really love this concealer. It's a great texture. It's almost gel-like in texture. And then the Eraser Eye. This doesn't crease as badly, but it still does crease a little bit. It's the most blendable concealer that I've ever used. It literally blends itself into nothing. I use the Real Techniques Miracle Complexion Sponge just to kind of dab it in, and it's a dream. It kind of blends itself really, and I like kind of the coverage that it gives. On a day where I've had enough sleep, this is enough for me. My under eye area lately has just been a bit kind of tired looking, but I think it's because I've just been having later nights than normal. But I do really like this. It does settle into my fine lines a little bit, which I am very upset about because I love it. Then what else do we have here? Two other Drugstore little finds. This is the NYX Above and Beyond Full Coverage Concealer. I bought this thinking it would be good to cover my pigmentation with, and while it is a very nice concealer, it isn't full coverage. It doesn't cover my pigmentation. Hardly anything does. I know a lot of people really rate the Estee Lauder Maximum Cover, but I just really struggle with the shades of Estee Lauder. It's supposed to be a foundation, isn't it? But I struggle with the shades that they do. I can never get a shade to work exactly right for me. Vichy Dermablend, a lot of people recommend, but again, the shades just always seem a bit funny to me. So I'm always on the lookout for a great Drugstore concealer to cover my pigmentation. This is not it. I don't mind it under my eyes. It's a nice concealer for kind of evening out your skin tone, redness, that kind of thing. But I don't tend to need too much of that. My foundation usually takes care of that for me. It's just under eyes and pigmentation that I need. Then two products that are a little bit similar. This one is by Rimmel and it's the Lasting Finish Concealer. This is what I'm wearing today over my pigmentation, which I'm sure you can still see is peeping through a little bit. They claim that it's full coverage and it lasts all day. It's very nice, it does work. I use it with a flat brush, the Real Techniques pointed foundation brush, and it does work nicely, but it's not my dream product. It kind of doesn't pack enough of a coverage to cover everything that I want it to, and I think maybe my expectations are just very unrealistic, and I want something that's just going to make my skin look completely flawless but still look not cakey, and that's very difficult to find. And then a real Drugstore gem. This is the Essence Match to Cover Creamy Concealer, similar to the Bobbi Brown. I like this under my eyes. It doesn't crease too badly, but I tend to like something a bit more highlighty. So what I usually do is if I've got a lot of kind of darkness, I'll use this underneath as a corrector and then go in with a more brightening concealer, because I've just gotten used to kind of having that triangle of light type of thing under my eyes in a subtle way, but I just feel like it makes a huge difference when I don't have it. So this alone isn't enough. And then the next two are more pricey options. Oh, I've forgotten to bring one of them out. That's alright, I know what it is, I'll just tell you. So the Clarins Instant Concealer, I've got a couple of shades of that. I really like that. I do find though that shade number 3, which is the darker shade that I use when I'm a lot more tanned, works better in terms of coverage, but I think that's just the tone of it kind of smooths everything out in a nicer way. So I really like that, but shade number 2 is what I'm wearing today, and it works nicely. It doesn't kind of diminish everything. I think a lot of it is just to do with kind of the shape of your eyes and everything. So it's not one that I like to kind of highlight everywhere with, but I just kind of take it a little bit lower down than you usually would. Like today I haven't kind of highlighted and it looks okay. But one that I don't talk about very often and that I do really like and think is really good is the Laura Mercier Secret Concealer. And I've got this in shade number 3, and I just use this as a corrector. It's a very kind of peachy tone. You can see I've used it a lot. I've had this for a very long time, and if I'm having a day where my under eyes look really dark and just kind of sleep deprived, I put this on first and it really diminishes the darkness, counteracts any kind of purpliness, and then I go on and put a different concealer over the top. That was what I did today. I put the Clarins concealer over the top of this. You need the tiniest amount of this. It's very creamy, very pigmented, and works really well to kind of get rid of severe darkness, but it's not enough to kind of have as just a brightening concealer on its own. But I really recommend this if you do suffer from very dark under eye bags. It works really nicely. So that's everything. They're all my concealers. I would love to hear your recommendations for concealers, preferably ones for pigmentation, because that's what I struggle with the most. And if you've got any tips on preventing creasing of your concealer, then let me know, because I have tried everything and nothing seems to work. I genuinely think it is just the shape of my eyes, kind of that they're quite small and a little bit hooded, and they just, I don't know, make concealer crease, it really drives me mad. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know your recommendations and I'll see you next time. Bye!